It's almost midnight, Watchers. Are you ready to join the Midnight Watchers to talk about their favorite strange and scary movies?
Koji.
Hi, this is Quentin.
Hi, it's Jennifer.
And this is episode number 23. How's everyone doing?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, doing great. Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays. I can't believe we're in December. Wait, most important question, have you guys put up your Christmas trees?
I did.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What about you, Jennifer?
It's going to be at my parents' house, and we just put the tree up, but haven't decorated, so we got the hard part out of the way.
Okay. Wait, is it real
Is
tree?
it a real tree or a fake tree?
Yeah, we do real.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do. I do a fake tree. Quentin, do you do a fake tree or a real tree?
You know what? I got a fake tree for the first couple of years, and now I've been getting a little real tree because, yeah, I don't know. I've been struggling with that. Is it more environmental to get a fake tree or get a real tree?
Well, I do. When we did get regular trees, there's this tree service that has live trees that you rent live trees from them, and then when you're done at the end, they basically plant them. So you have to put, they actually pick it up and then they plant it. It's more expensive though, but I used to do that. That was but you had to take care of it, right? You had to water it and make sure it's not dying and stuff. But that was like one way to be environmentally friendly. I think, to me, plastic trees are probably the most because you're just buying it once and use it over and over and over for many years, hopefully. But today we're going to be, as the theme suggests, we're going to be talking about Christmas, and we're going to be watching we watched the classic Black Christmas. Let me read you a little bit about the story. As winter break begins, a group of sorority sisters, including Jess, who's Olivia Hussey, and often inebriated Barb, that's Margot Kidder, begin to receive anonymous phone calls. Initially, Barb eggs the caller on, but stops when he responds threateningly. Soon, Barb's friend, Claire, which is Lynne Griffin, goes missing from the sorority house, and a local adolescent girl is murdered. Leading the girls suspect a serial killer is on the loose, but no one realizes just how near the culprit is. It was originally released on December 20th, 1974. It was directed by Bob Clark. It made $4.1 million in the box office. The budget was $620,000. Let's see. Some of the things I thought was interesting. It had grossed $4 million internationally, so I thought that was great. It was a lot of controversy when it appeared on TV. So it appeared in TV, and it was a very controversial thing. And the critics seemed to came out originally with mixed reviews, but over time it seems like people have kind of grown attached to this. So I saw this on Tubi. I don't know where you guys saw it, but I saw it on Tubi for free. But Quentin, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you picked this movie?
Yeah, I also actually rewatched it on Tubi, and I really enjoyed this movie. It seems to be the classic Christmas horror movie that I would watch almost every Christmas just to, it's just kind of like a very beautiful movie that, I'm fine to just play on Silent Night on every, Christmas Eve, just in the background. And it's just really well done and really classy. And I still enjoy it after seeing it back in the 80s, because I think I've gone to this whole horror movie thing a little bit late. And I really enjoyed it. So I just want to bring it to you guys and see what you guys think.
Jennifer, what did you think of this movie?
Yeah, I first of all love Olivia Hussey and Margot Kidder. And I didn't know they were in the movie till I watched the movie. So I was very excited about that. And I was really loving the fact that it reminded me of this urban legend or a story I had heard before. And I was like, I think it's the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series. If you guys remember that, the children's scary story sort of series. And I Googled it and I was right. There was a story or two in that series that it's that idea about the phone call is coming from inside the house.
A lot of times it's the babysitter, right? It's like the babysitter's upstairs, and the babysitter takes the call, and it's upstairs, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, no, it's so awesome. So I loved that. That's just there's just something about that storyline that's fucking awesome.
It's kind of interesting because for some reason, before I saw Black Christmas, I thought it was When a Stranger Calls. It was the first movie that actually talks about the first movie that that has this plot point about, you know, the call being from inside, but actually I guess it was Black Christmas was the first one.
And by the way, I'm impressed that this is the movie you play every Christmas. I think that because I play like a Christmas Story or something, or maybe even Elf. But maybe it should be a Christmas Story. But Quentin, what did you like about this movie in particular? What do you like about this movie?
No, I thought it was just I just thought it's actually the first slasher movie. I'm not sure you know. It's supposed to be the first movie that began the whole modern slasher genre.
Wow.
Were there any slasher movies before that? 1973.
I think Audie had said something about Bay of Blood.
Oh, okay, that's Italian. That's from Giallo, yeah. So I think, almost Bay of Blood was 1968, maybe. There's a Mario Bava movie, but Black Christmas was sort of the first movie that began the slasher genre, I think, in North America. And also, what's the other interesting thing about the director, Bob Clark actually also directed the 1984 A Christmas Story with Peter Billingsley. So it seems like he would direct a horror film and then also at the same time a
family movie.
A family movie, yeah. Which I thought was kind of like interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Both Canadian though. He's Canadian. He's a Canadian director. And he also directed Porky's, believe it or not.
Porky's too. Wow, those are two of the three favorite movies of mine: Porky's and Christmas Story. Jennifer, what did you like about the movie?
Besides like that sort of story origin that I just love, there's something like you said, Quentin, about it's just classy. It was just a really well done, classy movie, and like it wasn't really that gory. So it's the kind of movie that I think non-horror movie lovers would appreciate, which is why I think it's so popular, because it's not on the real extreme end of things. And I love that it was a female leading cast. Love that. You know, Sorority House, love those movies. It makes me think of my favorite horror movie, I don't think I ever told you, is actually The Descent, about in the girl spelunky in the cave. With the cave monster, and that's like an all-female led cast too. And there's something about movies like that when you're a girl, you know, where you're just like, yes, my friend is like that. Yeah, that's my friend. Oh yeah, okay, you know, I just love it. I love it.
I remember when I was watching this movie, I kept thinking of Ted Bundy, and I was wondering if it was related to the Ted Bundy. But then when I was doing some research, I realized that it came out before Ted Bundy, so it couldn't have been Ted Bundy. But there is a Ted Bundy connection to this movie. I guess when it originally premiered on television, it was 2 weeks before the Chi Omega killings at Florida State University that Ted Bundy went and killed a bunch of the sorority sisters in the house, and so they pulled it for a little while because of that situation. That was part of the end of Ted Bundy. That's kind of when he was losing it, but yeah, I mean, I actually really enjoyed it. I wanted it to be more bloody, but I think it was probably just because it's the beginning of the whole kind of genre, it feels like. But what kind of Jennifer, what kind of thoughts did you have in terms of the depiction of the sorority sisters? You weren't a sorority, were you?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't. But I hung out at fraternities. I was like friends with all the frat guys. But yeah, I mean, like that house mother character, I wasn't sure if that was like a real thing. Like, do they have that, you know,
I think they did back
mother?
then. Yeah. That was protecting of the innocence of young girls.
Okay. Yeah, so it's you know, like I liked, because it was the sorority, like you can't keep track, like people didn't know how long people were missing. They could have been one of them could be sleeping upstairs, like and the, you know, the prank call thing, the moaning, like the sexy prank call thing, that's kind of fun too. You know, there's just something very throwbacky about that, because we don't really, I don't know, you don't really get that, at least like when I was younger. Prank calls are more like something kids did, like we did like in middle school. I think I don't know anybody that does them except like radio stations.
Well, you can't prank call now because it's like a cell phone. It's just like I could just call you back now. Although, can you do star 64? Is that star? Back it used to be star 64 where you could
star 67 or star 64, where you can block
like
it.
You're blocking it, but I don't know if that works on a cell phone. I'm not sure, but now like it's all more complicated now because of the
exactly
thing. Well, Quentin, what did you think of?
Well, I was kind of curious why you thought that it reminded you of Ted Bundy. Which detail of the film?
No, because Ted Bundy, he went in and killed a bunch of girls at a sorority house, just like this. He was like in a house, and he broke in, and he just started killing a bunch of women.
Was that why he got caught?
Yeah, it was like right when he was like kind of losing it, and he stopped being like kind of secretive about it. He just was going around killing people, and so I thought this was based on that actually, but then it came out like many years after. Or that happened many years after.
So there was also another serial killer case. I forgot his name, but he actually snuck into a nurse's home, a Filipino nurse's home. There's several Filipino nurses, and she basically killed, made all the nurses' home people do all these kind of things and killed them all one by one in one night.
Real story?
Yes, it's a real story, and actually there were a couple of scripts written on it, and could have but I forgot which serial. I think that happened in 1970 something.
In America or the Philippines?
In America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Oh, but Richard Speck.
Oh, Richard Speck. Okay, yeah.
1966. So I feel that it was based maybe more on that because it is just it's kind of like, it happened in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so really, it's like Speck broke into he got some drink at a bar and then got into a bar fight. Then he broke into this, I think, a home, kind of like a sorority house that lived, a bunch of like nurses lived together. And I think a lot of them are Filipino, and so it ends up killing them one by one.
I was wondering, one of the things when I watched it was that nowadays we're so like everyone's watched so many horror movies, everyone sees such terrible things. Like, for example, like remember the shooting in Thousand Oaks where there was like a shooting at a country bar?
Mm-hmm.
And then like if you watch the footage, like immediately the first shot, everyone's running for the doors. Like it was kind of eerie because you could just tell like everyone knew exactly what to do because there'd been so many shootings, right? But just like when I was watching this, I kept thinking like, man, these people, they have no idea what to do. Like they have no idea what to do in a thing like this. Like, whereas, like the first thing I would be thinking if people started disappearing, I'd be like, oh my God, there's a killer in the house. And it actually goes to, when I think of this time, like there was a serial killer named Ed Kemper, right? And one of the kills that he had was this young Asian American girl at Santa Cruz. She was under 18. And she was hitchhiking. He took her in his car. He had to go pee. He went outside. He locked himself out and left the keys inside the car with her. She had the keys, and she let him back in. And it's because he told her to let him back in. And like back then, like if you look at it, like back then, like you're supposed to listen to your adults and you're supposed to do what people told you. Now, like I think if a 14-year-old girl was in that situation, first of all, they wouldn't be hitchhiking. But second of all, I know a bunch of 14-year-old girls and 15-year-old girls, and the last thing they would do is let some dude in the car. But because let them get back in the car.
I don't know. It's yes and no because I think people are still very gullible, to be honest. Like even though the technology.
But now, like you would assume this guy's gonna kill you or rape you, or I don't know. Like I just feel like they're very like in that situation.
You think they were like
they wouldn't let him back in the room.
You think the generation in the 70s is more innocent?
Well, first of all, they're hitchhiking, which is a sign of like being really, really like trusting of people. I mean, just to get in somebody's car nowadays, like hitchhiking. Like first of all, like hitchhiking is really scary, and I picked up people who were stranded, and I'm constantly worried about like.
You said you picked up people before?
when I've gone backpacking and stuff in like the middle of nowhere and there's like no roads around and people are stuck by their cars, I picked them up. But like I made the people I hike with, I'm like, hey, sit in the back. Like sit in the back seat with like one person sits up front with me, one person sits in the back. And usually we have like a knife or a gun or something. So we're just like we're just, hey, just be careful, just keep an eye on what's going on just in case. I mean, usually nothing, like everything's cool, but even back, but back then people were jumping in people's cars all the time, So there's like the what I thought was sweet about this movie was there's like a trustingness. There's like, it took a really long time for people to coalesce around. There's someone in this house trying to kill people, or there's someone in this community trying to kill a bunch of people. You know, even when the little girl was missing, right? It was like you know, like now, I feel like if a little girl goes missing, everyone assumes that it's some serial killer who's trying to like rape young girls or something. You know, I don't know. That's like that's me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, I'm sure newer generations are more desensitized because, yeah, there's more stuff they see in TVs and movies, right? They reveal more graphic things they didn't used to show. Like, I'll watch movies with my dad a lot, and he'll be like, he turns them, he won't watch them, finish them with me. Oh, they show too much now. So when he was growing up, he didn't see so much. And then this is a little bit like a tangent, but I think it's the same idea. I went to like a Birds and the Bees Zoom seminar that my schools linked us to. So it was like, when do you do the Birds and the Bees talk with the kids? And they were saying, believe it or not, whatever age she said, it was younger than my 7-year-old.
Wow.
What is the Birds and the Bees talk? I don't know.
It's a sex talk, to talk to your kids about sex.
Oh, so Birds and the Bees means,
it's a metaphor.
Why does it have? Why is it called the Birds and Bees?
I don't know.
But that's how like that's the metaphor they've always used.
Yeah.
They've used for a really long time in America.
Yeah, there's some reason why the sex talk, right? Where do babies come from talk? I don't know why it's called Birds and Bees. We'll have to look it up. But I just did it, and they were saying it was either 5 or 6 years old.
Whoa,
It's younger than him. And she was saying it's because
I constantly have to tell my kid about it, to be honest. Like, but it's more complicated because I'm like, oh well, you know what? I have to take my sperm, put it in the petri dish, and you and then create an embryo, then put it back in your mama crystals, your auntie crystals stomach. So that's even more complicated, to be honest.
Cute. That is, but you've already told him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he asked you, what do you say? Where do I come from?
I know. I mean, I just say, I'm usually vague about it. I haven't explained it, but now I know you are supposed to explain. So you're doing the right thing because, I mean, maybe everyone should have been always doing that. But the lady was saying because these days kids are exposed to more because of the internet.
So what my mom told me was that, oh yeah, an octopus brought you. I like octopuses when I was young and when I was 6. She's like, oh, so where did I come? Maybe I was asked her that. So, oh yeah, an octopus came and brought you in a little crystal ball. I said, really?
That's like the stork. It's similar to the stork.
Yeah,
right?
it is like
here. It's like the stork brought you through the chimney, and you became like, you know, you're brought to the house. But yeah, that's really early. I mean, I feel like it's really early. I mean, I think that they'll have enough sex stuff. Very big parts of their lives. So the longer, I mean, like not to hide it or make it like shameful. I think that's the problem with like a lot of places where they make it shameful. But as long as it's not shameful, it's something you're hiding. If my son asks me questions, I'll answer it, but I'm not like seeking out a conversation around it. Because although my wife always says, if you can't talk about it, you shouldn't be able to have it, which is something that's always very interesting because like it makes me giggle, you know.
Yeah.
It's so silly. but anyway, what was your Quentin? What's your favorite part of the movie?
You know, the favorite part of the movie has to be, you know, what I like about the movie is that it just had this really nice Christmas atmosphere, and people are kind of drinking, hang out, and then and I just thought the horror is done in such a classy kind of way that it's not like really gross and sort of like too explicit.
Yeah.
I just kind of like, you know, hard to pinpoint one part that I like, but definitely I thought the opening scene where Margot Kidder is sort of like, you know, playing a joke, like sort of like trying to you know, play, you know, sort of like trying to respond to that you know, prank caller was really funny.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was always such a classic because it's kind of shows that even in 1973 the women were so advanced in the point of view. You know, kind of like that's really ahead, I thought, in terms of the film, in terms of this kind of gender sexual politics.
Jennifer, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Maybe I don't know. I like the sorority. I liked when the girls were gathering in the sorority. Like yeah, there's the early scene. Like there's like a party scene, and you really see Margot Kidder because she gets killed kind of early-ish, right, halfway through maybe. And so it was just, I've only seen Margot Kidder in like the Superman movies, which I loved. And so I can't remember what else I'd seen her in, but it was nice to see her in this, you know, she was like, yeah, she kind of reminded me of Rizzo from Grease, like this, like loud talking, yeah, drunk. Well, it was the other lady that was more drunk, but anyway, they were drinking and partying and all the girls, and that was fun. I just loved that setting. And then I think what I was thinking of was like, what is it about this movie? What is it about movies that make it classic, right? What is it about this movie that makes it like considered a classic? I know what makes movies a cult movie, right, is when they, from my understanding, they weren't a big hit in the beginning, and they, over a long period of time, they gain recognition and acclaim. So I think before we talked about what makes a great midnight movie, what makes a midnight movie successful, right? Like Bad Taste versus Home Sweet Home, right? As I think when we talked about this, what makes this movie so classic, you know? Like why?
I just think that it's really well executed in terms of the cinematography. And again, like if you look back at a lot of the classic horror movies, like the Poltergeist or The Exorcist, they were really well-made movies. They were like really well photographed, and I think Exorcist was nominated for a lot of Academy Awards. So it's just that I think it's a production quality, and obviously, you know, the production quality of Home Sweet Home is not really that good. You know, we have to agree. And then versus Bad Taste, the production quality is not like great, but there's something really kind of like outrageous and timeless about it, right?
Yeah, right.
And I have to say that I think Bob Clark's movie, because I think it has gone a really good budget. So, you know, they were really, they're really well, so it's really well made. And in some way that contributes to, you know, sort of like being a classic, because when you watch a classic movie, it doesn't age because people behave like they are, you know, that time, and that's real. It's a combination of like, you know, this kind of like, you know, aesthetic beauty and also reality of how people behave in that time that makes it like, you know, you can identify with even now.
Makes me think almost like you could take any frame, because the production quality is high and it's so visually done well. So you could just take one frame, like a still, and it would be like iconic. Like there's like a Twitter I follow where they always take little like frames from movies, and it's always like, oh yes, and they only do like really movies that have that classic timelessness to it, you know.
Right. This is one of the movies. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I was just gonna say, this is one of the movies that, you know, I really enjoyed, because I think when you watched it, it didn't feel like an old movie. I think the problem with some of the movies we've seen, it didn't translate to now. Like it seemed cheap. It didn't seem realistic. The writing seemed off. But this is one of those movies that, you know, like short of the way they're dressing and some of the words they're using, it felt like I like knew these people, and I like, you know, I know, and it looked nice. It didn't look like some people didn't spend any money on it. It looked like people actually spent money and time and effort. And so I agree. I think Quentin's, I think your comment about why it's timeless is right on there. But my favorite part of this movie was the dad, when the dad came and he was like talking about the sanctity of his daughter and the mom or whatever was trying to keep like the sex picture or whatever, the graphic like painting. It just was like so interesting to see like how much things have changed, you know, in just what, like 40 years, that, you know, but like it's just really hilarious. But well, the
other thing I thought was interesting for you, Koji, is that actually Bob Clark also made one of the first zombie movies called Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Oh, really?
1972. So it's after Night of the Living Dead. So, and then he made kind of like a zombie movie about these kids, these kind of fraternity boys brought this like corpse to this little hut and tried to do like this weird ceremony on it. And then all these dead came back up from the cemetery to sort of like, you know, eat them or whatever, you know.
Wow, I totally want to watch it. What was it called again?
Children Shouldn't Play with dead things. That was early films.
Yeah. Wow, I'm totally gonna watch that. But so thank you guys. Do you guys have any final thoughts on Black Christmas?
If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. And I think that it's definitely a great film we can play. If you like horror films, a great film you can play in the background all Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not the kind of film I would play in the background, but it's a great. It's a much better film than the Thanksgiving films I've been watching. I've been watching a ton of Thanksgiving horror films recently, or during Thanksgiving, and it was
Anything stands out?
no, I was super unimpressed. There was a movie called American Patriot or something, and that was like a terrible Thanksgiving movie. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Quentin, for coming on board. And everybody, please rate, review, subscribe to our podcast. This is a labor of love. And also, our next movie is going to be Silent. What is it called, Quentin? Silent Night, Deadly Night, or is that
Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Silent Night, Deadly Night? So watch if you haven't seen that. Watch that next, and we look forward to seeing you then. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.